Pam Bondi entered what she believed would be a standard security briefing, only to be presented with footage that had the potential to topple some of the nation's most influential leaders. At this moment, she finds herself in a perilous chase. Pam Bondi had visited Secret Service headquarters numerous times in the past. It wasn't the sort of venue that invited laughter or encouraged guests to stay a while. It operated seamlessly and efficiently, well organized, streamlined, and consistent. However, today, as she crossed through security, there was an unmistakable change in the air. The familiar cadence of the building felt disrupted. Agents who usually exuded a calm assurance now advanced with determination. Swift movements, soft whispers, and a handful of furtive looks cast her way. At first glance, it may not have been clear, but her years of political experience had finely tuned her instincts. She had something more significant in mind than just a routine briefing. As she made her way to the main security checkpoint, a uniformed agent with an earpiece greeted her before she had the chance to present her ID. That was quite unusual. "Welcome, Ms. Bondi." His voice carried a sense of urgency, deep and compelling. "Come along with me." She paused for just a moment. The manner in which he expressed it, as if she had no option, triggered an internal alert. However, she was determined not to display any hesitation. "Can you share what this is all about?" she inquired, her tone steady. The agent was unresponsive. He confidently pressed his ID against a panel, unlocking a corridor that gracefully led away from the usual meeting rooms. Pam followed, her heels echoing on the polished floor. "Welcome to the hallways here. They have a unique charm. There are no windows. We don't have standard offices here." Before her stood a series of doors, each adorned with electronic keypads, demanding clearance levels that far exceeded her usual experience. Her thoughts were in a whirlwind. The Secret Service did not call upon individuals in this manner, certainly not without a compelling reason. At last, the agent came to a halt before a nondescript steel door. "There is no nameplate available. There are no insignia present. It's simply a retinal scanner." He turned to her, his expression a complete mystery. "Everyone is eagerly anticipating your arrival inside." Pam remained completely still. Whatever was unfolding in this moment, it was clear that someone intended for her to witness it. She gracefully entered through the doorway. "Welcome, everyone. As you step inside, you'll notice the room is softly illuminated, with a stunning massive screen that takes center stage, covering an entire wall. 3 senior agents stood before it, their posture impeccable, arms confidently crossed. They came with purpose, not for casual conversation. A man she recognized as Deputy Director Mark Ellis turned to her with a welcoming demeanor. "The door has been closed." Pam took a deep breath and then followed his request. Ellis got right to it. "What you are about to witness is for your eyes only." Pam maintained a calm and composed tone. "So, what brings you here today?" Ellis remained silent. Instead, he confidently pressed a button on a nearby console. "Welcome, everyone." The screen has just flickered to life. Initially, it was merely security footage, captured in grainy black and white. This image is time-stamped from less than 48 hours ago. We have a glimpse of the camera feed capturing a side entrance to an unremarkable building. Located in Washington, D.C. A sedan has just arrived. As the rear door swung open, a sense of anticipation filled the air. A gentleman made his entrance. Pam felt a tightness in her stomach. She instantly recognized him. Absolutely, everyone would. This was on the verge of greatness. Little did she know the extent of it all. Pam Bondi leaned in, her gaze sharpening as the footage unfolded. The gentleman emerging from the sedan was a figure synonymous with law and order, a name that commanded public trust. Here he was, moving with a calculated precision, glancing over his shoulder before slipping into the building. She was familiar with that walk, the stride of an unexpected presence. The camera feed elegantly transitioned, revealing the interior of a softly lit corridor. A figure approached the man, their face hidden. Yet the unspoken communication was clear through their stance. They were familiar with one another. Without a single word spoken, they shared a brief nod before vanishing behind the imposing metal door. Pam let out a breath through her nose. She felt uneasy about the direction things were heading. Ellis took the floor. "Welcome to a unique and exclusive venue. A secure, privately owned facility that is not government property. not publicly listed, and has no official records. Enjoy the privacy and confidentiality this location offers. Pam's thoughts were in a whirlwind. She made a welcoming gesture towards the screen. May I ask who the owner is? A woman with a sharp gaze stepped forward. Another agent in the mix. A shell company registered in Delaware has been linked to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Who are the owners? Utterly discreet, Pam folded her arms across her chest. Oh, I can only imagine this isn't his first visit, right? Ellis gave a solemn nod. We have monitoring in place for the past 6 months. He has made 8 visits, each time under the cover of night, always arriving in a different vehicle, and never accompanied by a security detail. Pam gently shook her head. A person in his role wouldn't simply be lurking without purpose. The footage advanced to the next moment. The metal door swung open once more, allowing additional figures to step into the room. Pam counted them, 7 in total, all men, well-dressed, exuding confidence, as if they were above it all. While the camera angle could have been better, one of them turned just enough for the system to capture a partial facial match. Look what just popped up in the corner of your screen. Pam's breath was momentarily taken away. Absolutely not. This seems a bit unclear. The individual appearing on the screen was more than merely a businessman or lobbyist. He was an individual who caught the attention of the federal government for close observation. An individual from another country with established connections to intelligence activities abroad. The type of individual who was never meant to set foot on U.S. soil without causing a stir. And yet, here he stood. Pam addressed the agents. Can we confirm the authenticity of this footage? Are we sure that it hasn't been altered? The female agent folded her arms confidently. We have thoroughly confirmed it 3 times. Here we have unfiltered, authentic surveillance footage. Ellis made his way to the console, eagerly fast-forwarding the footage. The gathering was seated around an elongated table. Documents are laid out before them. From time to time, a guest would lean in and share a few words. Yet the sound was absent. Pam's jaw tightened. What on earth are they talking about? Ellis exhaled gently. That's the aspect we're still uncertain about. However, Pam let out a sharp breath. It seems the pieces just aren't fitting together. This situation was certainly more than a mere misstep for a politician. This was something more profound. Let's make sure everything is well organized. She glanced back at the screen as the footage flickered once more. An older gentleman, distinguished by his silver hair and tailored suit, confidently set a substantial manila folder down on the table. The politician eagerly reached for it, flipping through the pages with anticipation. His expression remained neutral, yet his fingers drummed lightly against the paper. Pam was well versed in body language. That didn't seem like a reaction of surprise. That was indeed confirmation. The meeting carried on for an additional 10 minutes, concluding with documents being neatly stored, hands exchanged in a cordial manner, and the politician departing just as he had arrived. Welcome to a serene moment. Subtle, as if he was certain that no one would ever discover the truth. Ellis turned off the screen. Thank you for joining us today. That's all we have for now. Pam gently rubbed her temple. What additional information do we have about the other individuals present in that room? A female agent gracefully opened a file. 4 individuals among them hold U.S. citizenship, all linked through private sectors. We have a fascinating mix of sectors here: energy, pharmaceuticals, and defense contracts, all involving some high-level players, though their identities remain under wraps. What about the other 3? Individuals from abroad, each possessing significant financial connections to U.S. policy decisions. Pam gazed at the blank screen, her pulse calm yet her thoughts swirling with activity. This is more than just a scandal, she remarked at last. Welcome to the negotiation. Ellis gave a nod of acknowledgement. We share that assessment as well. Pam gazed up at him. Is it possible that no one in the White House is aware of this? A palpable silence ensued. Ellis took a moment before responding, and when he finally spoke, his voice was soft and measured. It appears that there may be someone who does, and that was the aspect that filled her with the most fear. Pam Bondi sensed a change in the atmosphere of the room. The moment Ellis uttered those words, the atmosphere became charged. She carefully observed the expressions of the agents before her. They weren't merely presenting evidence, they were observing her closely, assessing her response. Pam crossed her arms. Are you suggesting that there's someone in the administration who knows about this and hasn't mentioned it at all? Ellis shared a glance with the female agent. At this moment, we are still awaiting confirmation on that matter. Pam let out a dismissive laugh. Please, let's not engage in any games here. Ellis, it seems you have some suspicions. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought me into this conversation. Ahem. The female agent, identified by her name tag as K. Dawson, announced with a clear throat. It appears that this may exceed our initial expectations. Pam's mind was already in motion. A prominent political leader, discreet discussions with international agents, top executives from sectors related to national security. This went beyond mere corruption, it was a matter of power brokering. She gestured towards the screen. Could you please share the location of this meeting? Ellis paused for a moment. Dawson took the floor to speak. Welcome to a fascinating exploration of a private estate nestled in McLean, Virginia. This property, under the ownership of a real estate trust, presents a complex financial narrative. Our investigation has revealed connections to a firm previously highlighted for its involvement in laundering money through political action committees. Join us as we delve deeper into this intriguing story. Pam squinted her eyes. Are you suggesting that there's someone within our organization involved in laundering money to conceal these meetings? Ellis gave a nod of agreement. It seems there is a desire for this operation to remain discreet and away from public scrutiny. Pam let out a sharp breath. And here we find ourselves, taking in the footage from within that house. Dawson's lips curled into a playful expression, hinting at a smirk. Absolutely. That aspect really captures attention, doesn't it? Pam adjusted her posture. And there it was, a detail that transformed everything. It seems that this information has found its way to you, she remarked gently. Ellis remained noncommittal, neither confirming nor denying the matter at hand. The footage was found in a secure Dropbox on a confidential network. Pam moved in a bit closer, indicating that there's someone within this operation who desires the truth to come to light. Dawson gave a nod of acknowledgement. Or seeks an advantage. Pam glanced back at the screen, her thoughts swirling with excitement. This was not an error. This was clearly the result of careful planning. It seems that someone in that room was aware of the recording and intended for the appropriate individuals to witness it. However, the inquiry was, why? And, of course, why her? She glanced back at Ellis. What's the reason for involving me in this? Ellis locked eyes with her. It seems that the individual who shared this footage did not direct it to the White House. It wasn't sent to the FBI or the CIA. Pam's breath caught for a moment. It has been sent to us. They made a point to mention your name. Pam's pulse quickened. Excuse me? Could you please clarify that? Ellis folded his arms across his chest. For reasons unknown, it seems that someone within those walls thinks you are the one who should take a look at this. Pam took a moment to reflect quietly. It just didn't feel quite right. She had moved on from her role as a sitting official. She did not hold the role of an investigator. What could lead someone in an illicit gathering to believe she held any authority to take action? Unless, a gradual, disquieting notion began to take shape in her thoughts. Unless they were not seeking exposure. They were in search of a messenger. She cast her gaze towards Dawson. Has anyone made an attempt to connect since you got the footage? Dawson gently shook her head. We kindly ask that there be no direct contact. However, we began to observe some unusual occurrences. Pam wore a frown. What type of activity are we discussing? Ellis gracefully tapped a few keys on the console. A new screen appeared. This time, it wasn't the usual security footage. Welcome to the digital log. Welcome to the world of surveillance records. Pam took a moment to review the list. And then, she laid her eyes upon it. Allow me to introduce you to her name, her residence location, her phone records. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the metadata for her email. Noted. Welcome. Your entry has been successfully recorded. All set and under observation. Pam noticed a dryness in her mouth. Are you saying that someone has been keeping an eye on me? Ellis let out a breath, engaging beyond mere observation. Looking forward, it seems that the person who shared this footage had a keen understanding of how to captivate your attention. Before you even set foot in this building, they were already watching you closely. Pam gracefully ran a hand through her hair. This was more than just a shocking revelation. It appears we have encountered a trap. Now, let's ponder this intriguing question. Who was the one that said it? And what on earth did they desire from her? Pam's heartbeat began to slow. Not from relief, but from understanding. This was clearly orchestrated, right from the moment she stepped through that door. The heaviness of it nestled deep within her chest. Chilly and weighty, she gracefully turned back to Ellis. Are you suggesting that someone within this operation intended for me to witness this? So, they're monitoring my every move. Huh? Ellis gave a nod of agreement. Absolutely. That's precisely our point. Pam exhaled gently. This was no mere coincidence. Her name was chosen with great care. With her arms folded and a shift in her weight, she pondered thoughtfully. It seems that someone in that meeting may be looking to reveal what's going on and believes I could assist. Dawson gracefully tilted her head. Alternatively, Pam looked back and forth between them. Or perhaps there's a setup in play. Welcome to a moment of stillness. Ellis remained composed. Dawson let out a breath through her nose. Her arms remaining crossed. There was no disagreement from either side. Pam gently shook her head. This is quite perplexing. If this were a case of blackmail or someone seeking leverage, wouldn't it make more sense to bring it to the media's attention? Have you considered sharing it with a journalist or presenting it during a congressional hearing? Ellis paused for a moment. Then, in a softer tone, he remarked, because they lack faith in the system. Pam paused in her tracks. That was the genuine response. It seems that the individual responsible for this leak had little faith in the conventional methods to address the situation. Pam had spent enough time in politics to understand the implications of that statement. This was more than mere corruption. This was more than mere backroom deals and questionable finances. This was something monumental. Pam gently rubbed her temple. It seems she wasn't meant to be in this space. She had moved on from her position, free from the constraints of federal agencies. She lacked any political influence. And yet, there was an individual, someone within the upper echelons of government, who believed she was the ideal choice to witness this. That could only signify one thing. She was encouraged to take the stage. She cast her gaze towards Ellis. How would you like me to proceed with this? Ellis took a moment before responding. He cast a quick look at Dawson, who gave a subtle shrug before turning his attention back to Pam. Unfortunately, we don't have that information at the moment. Pam's jaw tightened. That's quite a statement. Ellis let out a deep sigh. It seems we're navigating without a clear destination. Pam, we're sharing this with you because it was intentionally directed your way by the person who leaked it. That means you're already part of it, whether you want to be or not. Pam turned away and began to pace thoughtfully. She sensed the walls drawing nearer. If she remained inactive, the individuals in that room would continue their course. Unrestrained. The power dynamics, the external influences, they just kept coming. However, revealing it would lead to significant repercussions. This kind of scandal has the potential to topple more than just a politician. It has the potential to unsettle entire agencies, disrupt alliances, and undermine trust at the highest echelons of government. And if there was one thing Pam understood, it was that individuals like this never fade away silently. She felt her phone vibrate in her pocket. Welcome, everyone. Here we have a text for you to enjoy. She retrieved it, anticipating a message from her assistant or perhaps a news alert. But the instant she laid eyes on the sender, her stomach sank. We've got an unknown number here. Pam took a moment to pause, then decided to open it. Welcome to a single line of thought. Exercise caution when it comes to placing your trust in others. Pam felt a tingling sensation on her skin. Ellis noticed her response. Can you tell me what it is? She gracefully turned the screen in his direction. Dawson leaned in for a closer look. Ellis took a deep breath. When did you acquire that? Pam has chosen not to respond. She was preoccupied with the timestamp that had just come in 12 minutes ago. She felt a chill run through her veins. It seems that someone was aware of her presence here. She glanced back up at the two agents. It seems we may have run out of time. It seems there was an observer keeping an eye on everyone. Pam's grip around her phone grew firmer. The message served not as a warning, but rather as a gentle reminder. It seemed that someone was orchestrating the moves on the board, and she had unwittingly entered the game. She made direct eye contact with Ellis. You've mentioned that this footage wasn't shared with the White House or the FBI. Ellis gave a nod of agreement. Absolutely correct. Pam let out a sigh, shaking her head gently. It seems that the individual who leaked this has a clear understanding of the extent of the situation. When there's a lack of trust in law enforcement, intelligence agencies, or even elected officials, it indicates we're delving into issues that transcend mere politics. Dawson folded her arms across her chest. Beyond mere scandal, Pam locked eyes with her. It's so much more than a simple cover-up. It seems that if anyone in that meeting had acted carelessly enough to be discovered, they would have taken the necessary steps to resolve the situation by now. That indicated that the person who sent the footage was either intricately involved or entirely beyond reach. The inquiry was, what was the reason for including her? Pam turned her attention back to the screen, carefully examining the paused frame of the clandestine meeting. A group of 7 men, comprising a blend of American elites, foreign operatives, and a prominent politician renowned for his unwavering commitment to national security and loyalty to the nation. Pam chuckled softly, a hint of dryness in her laughter. Is he aware that he's been discovered? Ellis paused for a moment. Absolutely not. Pam cast him a piercing gaze. Are you serious? He's just going about his day as if nothing occurred? Dawson made a slight adjustment in his position. If he were aware, we would have already observed indications of damage control. Pam understood the implication behind that. Let's ensure there are no unexpected departures. There will be no anonymous sources sharing a managed version of the story. There are no planned media leaks to ease the impact. This remained contained. At this moment, Pam crossed her arms. Now, let's explore what comes next. Are you going to take a seat on this? Shall we hold off until the moment is just right to take action? Ellis remained composed. We invited you here for a purpose. Pam's mouth curved slightly, revealing her annoyance. Could you please elaborate on that reason? Are you considering taking on the role of the intermediary? Are you prepared to take responsibility if this goes south? Dawson's voice carried a soothing calmness. To make a selection, Pam let out a sharp breath. She really didn't require this. She had the option to leave this place, act as if nothing had happened, return to her routine, and allow those in authority to handle the situation. Yet, beneath the surface, she was aware that this choice was off the table. It seems that the person who sent that message to her phone had intentions beyond simply involving her. She was anticipated to be. She cast her gaze towards Ellis. What would be the implications if this were to be revealed? Ellis's expression was a mystery. It really hinges on the manner in which it is revealed. Pam gently flipped her phone over in her hands. She has the ability to approach this correctly. Subtle questions. Welcome to the world of backchannels. Welcome to the world of legal procedures. However, that would allow those involved some time to consider their options. It's time to take care of some unfinished business. It's time to challenge her credibility. It's essential to ensure that this remains undiscovered, or she might choose to embrace the risk. Approach someone who defies control. Just as she was about to continue, a loud buzzing sound suddenly filled the air. The agent stood still, caught in the moment. Ellis pulled out a device from his pocket, taking a quick look at it before raising his gaze. His expression was serious. Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you here. Pam wore a frown. Who is it? Dawson. Ellis turned to you. Please take a moment to check the cameras. Dawson swiftly engaged with the console, entering a flurry of commands. In just moments, a live feed from the entrance of the building graced the screen. Pam felt a sudden jolt in her stomach. We have 2 black SUVs here for you. Welcome to the world of tinted windows. We don't have any plates available. The types of vehicles chosen for discreet travel. Ellis muttered a curse quietly to himself. Pam's pulse quickened. Share with me that you had anticipated their arrival. Ellis remained silent. Dawson's fingers gracefully danced across the keyboard. She glanced up, realizing they weren't here for a scheduled meeting. Welcome. They're here for us. Pam felt a catch in her breath. The one responsible for this, the one who had been observing, was finished with the waiting game. And now they were arriving to ensure that the truth remained confined within these walls. Pam's muscles tightened. The SUVs sat quietly outside, with no one making a move to step out just yet. However, she was well aware of the process. The individual within clearly had no intention of engaging in conversation. Ellis was quick on his feet. It's time to bring this to a close. At this moment, Dawson was already on it, fingers dancing across the keyboard. We are currently in the process of scrubbing all logs from the system. Should they manage to enter, they will discover nothing of interest. Pam took a deep breath, her eyes glued to the live feed. The driver's side door of the lead SUV opened a crack, allowing a glimpse of the entrance before it was swiftly closed once more. They were patiently awaiting. She directed her attention to Ellis. May I ask who they are? Ellis's jaw tightened. Well, if I were to take a guess, I would say, welcome to the world of private security. The type engaged by individuals who prefer to remain anonymous. Pam felt a knot in her stomach. Covert agents. Individuals lacking formal connections or documentation. The type of individuals who followed directives without hesitation or inquiry. Dawson's screen flickered to life. Oh dear. It seems we've found ourselves in a bit of a predicament, as we are currently unable to gain access. Ellis's head turned sharply in her direction. Excuse me, could you please clarify that? Dawson's fingers danced over the keys once more. It appears that an external entity is taking control of our system. Access is being cut off. Pam gracefully stepped forward. Are you suggesting that there's someone within these walls? Dawson remained silent, yet her expression spoke volumes. Pam experienced a wave of warmth rising up her neck. Having spent years in the company of influential individuals, she understood that the most guarded secrets were always shielded by those closest to them. They were under careful observation. It appears that they had already faced a compromise. Ellis leaned down and retrieved a secured briefcase from beneath his desk. He expertly unlatched the case, unveiling a burner laptop alongside a distinct hard drive. Pam arched an eyebrow. Do you always have a backup plan ready? Ellis remained focused on what was in front of him, not lifting his gaze. Surprises aren't really my thing. Dawson continued to type with great intensity. We have just 3 minutes. At most. They may either break in or be welcomed inside by someone. Pam let out a sharp breath. All right, what's our next step? Ellis presented a flash drive. All that we have is right here. We should ensure it's out of this building before they arrive. Pam glanced back at the live feed once more. The door of the SUV stood wide open, inviting curiosity. A gentleman made his entrance. Elegant dark suit. It appears there is no badge visible at the moment. Yet, the manner in which he moved, as if he was fully aware that nothing could hinder him, sent a chill through her. Pam gracefully turned back to Ellis. Do you really believe they'll just allow us to stroll out of here with that? Ellis gave a slight shake of his head. Absolutely not. That's why we could use a little diversion. Dawson gestured toward the side exit with a nod. You'll find a secondary stairwell that takes you down to the parking garage. If we arrive ahead of the others, we might just have a chance to make our exit smoothly. Pam took another look at the screen. A second man emerged from the second SUV. They had more than intimidation in mind. They arrived with the purpose of tidying up. Pam inhaled deeply. Throughout her career, she consistently stood on the right side of the law, holding a firm belief that, despite its imperfections, the system had the capacity to self-correct. But what she witnessed this evening, this situation exceeded all bounds of corruption. This was a device crafted to ensure that the truth remained hidden. And if she walked out of here, she had transformed from a mere observer into something much more significant. She found herself in the crosshairs. Ellis graciously presented her with the flash drive. You're the sole individual capable of taking this forward. Pam took a moment to pause. How about you? Ellis wore an expression that was difficult to interpret. We'll take our time with them. Pam felt her heart race. That doesn't quite qualify as a plan. That sounds like a dire situation. Dawson picked up her jacket. Let's focus on what needs to be done instead of getting caught up in disagreements. Pam gazed thoughtfully at the small device resting in her palm. She was presented with a choice. She might choose to let it go. Allow another to take on this challenge. Return to a life of safety and comfort. Let's just act like this never happened. Or perhaps she might choose to run. Uncover the truth and bring it to light. Even if it meant embarking on a thrilling escape. Even if it meant she would face uncertainty forever. Pam held the flash drive tightly in her fist. The gentlemen outside were making their way toward the entrance. She directed her attention to Ellis. Please grant us some additional time. In that moment, she took off, leaving no words behind. Pam's breath remained calm, yet her pulse raced with intensity. The hallway unfolded ahead, vacant except for the gentle buzz of the fluorescent lights above. Dawson was right beside her, moving swiftly, her gaze fixed on the service stairwell at the end of the corridor. Behind them, Ellis lingered at a distance. "Welcome to a delightful diversion." A gesture of giving. Pam felt a pang of reluctance as she left him behind. Yet urgency propelled her forward without a moment to spare. Dawson swung the stairwell door wide, and they quietly stepped in. The frigid, unwelcoming air of the concrete shaft enveloped her, a stark reminder of the truth. Pam concentrated intently, taking it one step at a time. They ascended the stairs swiftly, their shoes gliding silently over the concrete. As they reached the midpoint, Dawson leaned in and softly said, "We're almost to the lot. We come across an unmarked vehicle. We're departing from DC right away." Pam nodded, holding the flash drive tightly in her palm as if it were a vital connection. Just as they were about to conquer the final flight, a door burst open above them. "Welcome to the sound of footsteps. Quick, substantial. We're on our way to see them soon." Dawson muttered a curse softly to herself. "Welcome, everyone." Pam kept on the go. At this moment, any hesitation would lead to their downfall. She confidently pushed through the exit door, making her grand entrance into the underground garage. "Welcome, everyone." As you take a look around, you'll notice rows of government-issued vehicles neatly arranged in this space, their dark surfaces beautifully reflecting the soft glow of the overhead lighting. "Enjoy the ambiance." Dawson surveyed the lot. "Welcome, everyone. Today, we have a special focus on keys. Let's dive in and explore their significance together. Let's make sure we have the keys we need." Pam gestured. "Right this way. The key lockbox is located on the far wall." Dawson dashed forward, with Pam standing guard, her heart racing. "Next." I hear more footsteps coming from the stairwell." Pam spun around, her heart racing. And now, the first man makes his entrance. Elegant black suit, quiet assurance. He stands firm and unwavering. He spotted her right away, and it didn't catch him off guard. Pam sensed a heaviness in her stomach. It was clear to everyone that she would make a swift exit. Dawson eagerly tore open the lockbox and snatched up a fob. "Let's get started." Pam swiftly turned and dashed toward the closest car, yanking the door open just as Dawson leapt into the driver's seat. The engine sprang to life with a powerful roar. "Next up, welcome, everyone. Today, we find ourselves amidst the sound of gunfire." Sparks flew as bullets ricocheted off the car's surface. Dawson pressed down on the gas pedal with enthusiasm. The tires let out a sharp cry as the car surged ahead, narrowly avoiding the armed men charging into the lot. Pam turned in her seat, her gaze fixed on one of them, the man from the first SUV. His expression was unsettlingly serene. He wasn't pursuing. There was simply no need for him to do so. Pam felt a knot in her stomach. They weren't attempting to take her life, rather, they aimed to exert control over her. Dawson accelerated toward the exit ramp, smoothly presenting the clearance card to the reader. The gate creaked open just as additional men streamed into the garage behind them. And then, my friends, they had stepped out, racing through the darkness. Pam's breath quickened, her hands clutching her knees as she attempted to make sense of the events that had just unfolded. Dawson looked at her, his voice filled with gravity. "So, where shall we head next?" Pam gazed thoughtfully at the flash drive resting in her palm. She possessed it. "Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that really matters, the truth. Let's explore it together. Here we have the evidence. Here it is, the evidence you've been waiting for." However, the true inquiry wasn't about the destination. It was a question of trust. Wasn't it? She turned to Dawson, letting out a slow breath. "I've got a clear destination in mind for us." And she hoped she was right. Pam Bondi dedicated her career to the belief that the system had the potential to self-correct. It is hoped that the appropriate individuals, equipped with the necessary information, will take the required actions. However, that evening, as she hurried away from the very establishments meant to maintain justice, she came to a different realization. Sometimes, the truth alone may not suffice. It must find its way into the right hands. It seems that not everyone is interested in listening. As long as power can be purchased and those in authority determine what information the public receives, corruption will not merely exist, it would flourish. Pam found herself at a crossroads. Remain silent and allow the world to accept the falsehood, or take the chance to reveal the reality. And for the first time in her life, she realized there was no turning back. The true battle was only just starting. The reality holds its strength through the commitment of those ready to stand up for it. How would you react if you stumbled upon something that was never intended for public eyes? Are you willing to put everything on the line to uncover the truth? Or would you choose to step away, aware that perhaps silence is the only shield protecting you? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Be sure to subscribe for more thought-provoking stories that will keep you engaged.